I apologize, Brian Norman. I was not familiar with your game. Brian Norman Jr. defeated Jin Sasaki, 5th round knockout, a absolute cold, stone cold just left hook to the head as he drew out the body jab from Jin Sasaki. Magnificent. Now, it was an absolute beating from round one from Brian Norman. And I was not familiar with Brian Norman. I had, heard about him. Oh, he's good. He's calling out Boots, Ennis. Yeah, whatever. I didn't realize that he was this good, guys. And, call me a casual all you want. But, there's so many good boxers that it's hard to keep up with everybody. It's not like the UFC where everybody's under one banner. And I can say, all right, if I watch every UFC event, I can know everybody. Boxing's harder. So, this was my first exposure to Brian Norman Jr. And boy, oh boy, was I pleasantly surprised. Now, I saw the knockout after the fact because I was at work, doing work things. And on my lunch, I got to watch the fight. And I saw the knockout. I'm like, wow, he scored himself a really nice knockout of the year candidate. I didn't see the first round 2 knockdowns, the 4th round knockdown, and the rest of the absolute beating he put on Jin Sasaki. Brian Norman absolutely just destroyed. He walked through Jin Sasaki, and I tend to think I'm overexcited right now, but I tend to think Brian Norman Jr. might have a good shot against Jaron Boots Ennis, but more on that in a minute. From the early going in this fight, you could see that Brian Norman Jr. he spotted the body jab from Jin Sasaki coming forward, and he was like, okay, I got this left hook. Very, very, first 2 exchanges of the fight. Jin Sasaki came out just guns a-blazing, lead lefts to the body, winging punches over the top and stuff, just looking for big haymakers against Brian Norman. Brian Norman's like, hey, I sussed this out. Look, you're throwing your head off the center line. Sure, great. I can't jab you there. Maybe, maybe not. And he had good luck jabbing that night too. But what he really showed was, hey, I got these eyes and I can see really quickly. Round 1, he's picking out this dipping jab to the body. The dipping jab to the body from Jin Sasaki. And he's like, I know exactly how I'm going to counter this. Boom, left hook. And it put Jin Sasaki down. Not once, twice. In the first round. Incredible. Put him down twice. Now, Jin Sasaki, he settled in, but really and truly, Brian Norman was in control of the fight the entire time. It was crazy to see, just Jin Sasaki is a top 10 ranked welterweight on Ring Magazine. Brian Norman's the number 1 ranked, right behind Jaron Boots Ennis. But it was crazy to see just how fast he picked up on these tails from Jin Sasaki. And I know that they probably watched him in camp and watched his tape, but to pick up the reads that quickly and the speed and the distance that quickly shows you just how high of a level Brian Norman really is. Now, he started going to the body later. He did a lot of straight punching, a lot of movement, just really good ring craftsmanship. But towards the end, he started going to the body of Jin Sasaki. And it's like, okay, what are you doing here? We know Jin Sasaki likes to go to the body. And I'm not saying he didn't throughout the whole fight, but in the 5th round, later in the 4th and then the 5th round, he really did start to up the ante to the body. He started to go to the jab, to the cross to the body. He really did the hooks to the body. He was making sure Jin Sasaki knew, hey, I'm going to your body now. And he was doing that for one reason. It's very apparent now after you watch the fight. But you're watching, it's he might be trying to wear him out later in the round. No, it was very apparent watching this fight after the fact. He's setting up that left hook that he found in the first round. And throwing that left hook, or throwing those jabs and that cross to the body, he really opened up, Jin Sasaki to want to get one back and to drop his hands. And as soon as he did throw exactly what Brian Norman wanted, boom, left hook, put him out cold. I don't know if the left hook put him out cold or was his head hitting the ring canvas. Regardless, Jin Sasaki didn't get up. It took him a while to get up the ring. Kind of scary, but looks like he's okay. So, great 5th round knockout from Brian Norman. Now, after that, he was, doing his usual post-fight interview, and he called out the man he's been calling out for a while. Boots Ennis, though, is moving up from 147 to 154. Granted, got Bakhmut Italia, Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora there. Terence Crawford supposedly there, but we don't know what's going to happen after this Canelo Alvarez fight. But he really did have a great promo. He said, "I wish I had a certain fight coming up, but they heard the B. Norman storm coming. And you know what happens when that storm comes? They grab their boots and run. Get it? Jaron, boots, Ennis, boots and run." I liked it. Great sportsmanship. Very, very good call out. Yeah, I got a good chuckle out of it, and I thought, hey, I would like to, after watching this one fight from Brian Norman, which I'm going to watch more of his fights later, I'm like, man, Brian Norman is a good fighter. He's a fun fighter. I want to watch more of him, and I would like to watch him versus Jaron Ennis. Now, if you've watched the show for any period of time, you'll know I've been a Jaron Ennis skeptic. I won't say hater, but like I'm a skeptic. Like, man, I don't know if he beats Bud, or man, he looks like he might be able to beat Terence Crawford. Brian Norman Jr. might be a very hard fight for Jaron Ennis. Now, Ennis, he'll get wild, he'll get crazy. He has really good boxing mechanics. 27, he's really starting to hit his prime. And at only 24, Brian Norman has a lot of room to grow. He could beat Jaron Ennis, guys. But if Ennis is going up to 154, chasing that, maybe the Charlo fight. Did Charlo move up from 54? I don't know. So this a Fundora fight, Terence Crawford, maybe, so you're going to have to set up yourself to make yourself, well known. We know Devin Haney's coming up. Ooh, but they're also trying to book Haney versus Lopez, so we don't know what's going to happen there. And Jack Catterall, Norman, Stanionis, Barrios, all those guys are there, and that adds more to the legacy, but he really does need to go undisputed in this weight class. The Boots is, vacating his title, so that's really not an option. But you got Adel El Gamarui and Tulani Mbenge. I have no reason. I've watched highlights of both of those guys. I can't really say their name, but I've watched highlights, and like it really does feel like Brian Norman would like just run through them pretty convincingly. He wants the Jaron Ennis fight, and I want it too. I think it's a really fun fight. I want that more than Boots and Crawford, if y'all want to know. And don't get the pitchforks. Oh, he doesn't want Boots to fight Crawford. No, I kind of don't. I don't know where Terence Crawford sits at this point in his career. He's going to make money fighting Canelo Alvarez, 3 weight classes, 4 weight classes, whatever it is. The Brian Norman fight's a much more fun fight, and it's 2 fighters that are going to be good for a long time. There's some things that Norman can work on, but what I saw at only 24 years old against Jin Sasaki, I'm like, oh, this guy's got something special. He just passes the eye test. He does. He passes the eye test. But like, what does he bring to the table for Jaron Ennis? What does he bring to the table for Boots? Not much. You got 1 title. You got to go out there and make a name for yourself. And 147 doesn't have the best names. He goes out and beats Devin Haney. Okay, the former 135 champion, probably the most fraudulent 4-belt champion ever. He would have to go undisputed, win all the titles, and then say, hey, I'm the man. I was the man. You ducked me. I got all the belts in my weight class. You got however many belts you got in your weight class. Let's duke it out. I mean, you've got, you got the Catterall, you got Barrios. I don't know who would be next for Jaron Ennis's, vacated belt, or supposedly vacated belt, since he's moving up to 54. But I do think that there would be like a Barrios fight there, or even Stanionis or Catterall could challenge him for the title there. There's some options there for him. And I really, really do think in the future a Jaron Ennis versus Brian Norman fight is one of the better fights you could make, and one of the most fun fights, despite them not being like mega stars like a Canelo, Usyk, or like a Gervonta Davis. So yeah, great night of great fight, great knockout from Brian Norman. I can't wait to see more of him. I'm going to watch his old fights now because I got to know more about this guy. Before we leave, Fight Finders episode 7. I'm starting to film today. Go check that out. Episodes 1 through 6 is out now. Episode 7 is coming, and maybe I can do one with Brian Norman one day. Wouldn't that be sick?